All right. Welcome to another episode of Head in the Clouds from us at Go Cloud Careers. My name's Chris Johnson. I'm the Chief Operating Officer, joined by Mike Gibbs, our founder and CEO, Alonzo Coleman, our Chief Marketing Officer, and we've got Dr. Johnson and Dr. Long from the University of Tennessee at Martin here with us today as well. And we've got some other guests that are going to be popping in throughout the afternoon. We're going to be doing a recap about some takeaways and about all the fun and exciting things that we did at our recently completed Go Cloud Careers Summit. So if I'll go ahead and tell everybody now, if you missed our Go Cloud Careers Summit in Orlando a couple of weeks ago, don't worry. Pre-registration opens tomorrow for our next one in March. So don't worry, we've got you taken care of. I'm looking forward to it. It looks like Dr. Johnson's looking forward to it over there. But we're going to be talking about everything that we took away from it. So, Mike, you want to share a few words with us, and then we'll see what the doctors have to say?
Yeah, absolutely. So coming back from this conference was just so wonderful. I mean, I'm a little excited now. 5 minutes ago, somebody named Sandeep in India just told me they got a senior solutions architect job after taking our course. But what I saw at the conference was just this. I got to meet some of my students in person. Now, I've known several of them for a while, but in person, and it was truly amazing. To give you an example of how much fun it was, I had attempted to walk to the bathroom, which was about 100 feet away from where our meeting was. And I had about an hour's break to get there. And I didn't manage to go the 100 feet because I got to stop and talk to so many people. For me, that was a win. Then we honestly had Drs. Johnson and Long deliver a strategy presentation on how to build a strategy, the kind that you would give at a McKinsey or an Accenture or a Deloitte. And, I watched them do that, and, it was really great. Now, after their presentation, and it was fantastic, some of the things they were talking about different strategic analysis, I asked my students, when do you do this? And they said, the second we start our course, when we're architecting our career. And what I loved was when you've got business leaders and business educators and other organizations, and they're doing the same things without actually planning it together, that's when you know you've got the magic. So I really loved that. There was a point where one of my students, Ebenezer, who was one of the most incredibly intelligent and hardworking people I've met, but he was not gifted, traditionally speaking, with presenting. He gave a presentation in the part of the summit where we worked on executive presence. And the only thing I could do and say to him was hug him and cry because I was so happy for him. And when I saw that, it was like, wow. I get the cloud hired stories and I get it all the time. And people tell me how we've affected their lives. When I saw it in the same room, that was just really special to me. And so that to me was really great. Interestingly enough, I'm wearing this Cameroonian football jersey that was given to me by one of my students, Valerie. And just a chance to go there. And people know me, they know that I only eat like 3 kinds of food. I eat Greek food, which is what I know how to cook. I cook Jamaican food, which a Jamaican friend taught me, and I like Ethiopian food. Now, granted, I've been trying to make injera for years, and still my recipes aren't so good, but I've been trying. And then we went to this Ethiopian restaurant with one of our Ethiopian students and a few other small students, a small batch of us, and we got together and we had so much fun. So all of it was great, but it was bringing in academia, which we all know I actually love, because, there's practical things that we do, but if you don't have the fundamentals of why, it doesn't make sense. And bringing the business school in with all the experience they have, and then bringing in, those kind of leaders, bringing in architects, Jermaine, for example, and Ivan Tamba from AWS. So we had an enterprise architect and we had an AWS solutions architect the next time. We've got someone planning to come from Google and who knows where else, but we're already excited about it. But bringing in the working architects and hearing them speak. Ivan Tamba was there. I love this kid. He's like one of the kids that I never had a son or a daughter. So I've had a few students that I wish were my son or daughter, and Ivan's one of them. And when I watched him speak, he sounded like an architect that'd been 50 years old, even though he was 25. And that to me was just awesome. So it was all great to me, but those things were highlights of me. And the same thing for Jermaine.
All right. So I know normally I would go to Alonzo, but I know we only got the doctors for just a little bit. So I want to hear from the doctors about what their thoughts were and their takeaways, highlights for them from the summit.
Oh, you want me to go?
I want you.
Yeah. Oh, we unmuted here.
Yes.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Let me tell you something. I was excited when I left that Go Cloud Summits, folks. That was really spectacular because the summits or conferences that Dr. Long and I go to, I got one word to describe: boring. But this was exciting. And I'll tell you the thing that I really liked was getting to have one-on-one time with a lot of the folks there, the attendees. It was really good to meet some of the ones that we had been seeing on Zoom. And as I have made it very clear, I'm not good on technology and Zoom, and those pictures keep popping around everywhere. So I finally got to meet some folks. Alonzo and I have some agreements now about the next time about Red Solo Cup. So I'm looking forward to that. But seriously, what I really liked, I think the most was the executive presentations. I think that will be very beneficial to all of the attendees, as many of those folks that can do that. And I hope that was captured on the film, that would be something that your team would want to share with potential attendees to get them excited. I think that was very beneficial to them. So I'm going to let Jamie add what she's got right now.
I have to agree. It was a fantastic event. It was really inspiring and energetic. I think the atmosphere that was there, it was so different from a typical conference, an academic conference that we're used to. Everybody was really positive and supportive. And that's just a good environment to be in. There's a lot of, when you have that support, when you have that enthusiasm, there was no competition. Everybody was there to support each other and encourage each other and to help each other. And it was just a really fantastic experience to be able to be a part of that. As far as what I really took away, I guess, from that, the whole summit was the value added that comes from that in-person experience. So as great as it is to be able to share knowledge over the internet, having that one-on-one experience, that classroom environment that we're used to, it adds a little bit more and it enhances that understanding. So just not having a virtual hand raise, but an actual hand raise, and allowing everybody to kind of feed off each other. When there was laughter, it was genuine laughter, and laughter was generated not just from the speakers, but from everybody. We were all having a great time the entire time we were there. I mean, from the yoga in the mornings all the way through the presentations, even during breaks, we were networking and talking to each other and getting to know each other. I mean, in the elevators, it didn't matter where we were. We were just chit-chatting and talking, and it didn't feel like there was any divide between anybody. It was, you could go up to anybody and start a conversation, and we were engaged immediately. Happy to be there. Lots of smiles, all of that. It was a very fantastic event. I think it was well put on.
And also the whoever dreamed up the escape room, you need to do more of those type of activities, because that builds skills of working together, networking, building relationships, and so forth. And all I can speak for is my team. I believe I made it clear that I saw the characteristics of leaders, and from what I gather from Mike and from Chris and from Alonzo, that you're not only training folks to do well in the cloud architect arena or solutions, but you're also training these folks to be leaders and to move up the corporate ladder and to share their skills and to share their knowledge with other people and to develop that next generation of leaders. And I saw that throughout the entire conference. I really did. And I think that would be better, that was very beneficial for not only the Go Cloud team, but also for the attendees. And, I commend you on coming up with that idea and things like that, those activities, put that in conjunction with the presentations that were there. But, having other folks engaged, man, that's really wonderful. That's one thing that we're limited in doing when we're in the academic setting. But more of those, that'd be great. So, Chris, I think you ought to have at least a week and a half conference next time, so we can go ahead and schedule to be there, to do that type of stuff.
I mean, I would love to pull off a week or a week and a half, but I don't think I can get Alonzo away from the wife for that long.
I understand.
I'll bring him along next time. I'll add that extra incentive.
There you go.
Alonzo, any thoughts from you?
Well, don't buzz me, man. So I got a lot to say, but I'll keep it contained. One of the things that I enjoyed is actually we've had many discussions on these panels with Dr. Jamie Long and Dr. Cooper Johnson, but to actually see them and interact with them is just pure joy. We had such a great time just chopping it up, having a great discussion about different things, different takeaways. And actually, a lot of people didn't notice or know that it was the first time Mike, Chris, and I actually physically have been in the same room together, which was it was just wonderful to see as well. So I saw Mike individually, I saw Chris individually, but just coming together was just the synergy off of all of us on this panel right here was just stupendous. It was just amazing to see. And then when I have a chance to actually see everyone, I saw Richard Lacpasa, I saw Brian McCulk, I saw Jermaine Houghton, I saw Yvonne Tamba, I saw so many people there. And just to be able to have that tactile experience of shaking their hand, watching them smile, interacting with everyone, talking about topics and discussions. Douglas Gillette, I can name so many people off the top of my head. And I just loved it. I am still in that mode of happiness of seeing everyone and watching everyone interact and exchange. And it's funny to be in the room interacting, but also taking, just going in the corner and watching all of these experiences, people coming up with ideas and just the energy off of everyone. It was a chain reaction that I was just happy to witness. So I'll leave a little bit for the rest of the show, but over that, I enjoyed myself to the fullest.
Me too.
Yeah. So I'd like to ask, so I know Dr. Johnson and Dr. Long, you are busy individuals and you've got another commitment lined up here in just a few minutes. But I wanted to ask, I think Dr. Johnson's already made it pretty clear what his favorite part was. But just in case, what would you two say were your favorite parts about the weekend? Let's do this two different ways. Personally, what was your favorite part? And then also separately, I'm going to ask you guys what you thought was probably the most beneficial for the participants. So personally, what was your favorite parts?
My favorite part was the executive presentations. I really think, because when I go to a summit or to a conference, I'm looking for what will benefit the attendees the most, and I think having that opportunity to do that in front of, say, Jamie and myself, and then get another perspective from Mike and so forth, so you had basically three perspectives that hopefully we gave some feedback that's going to help those folks, sit down with the top folks in the organizations who they're going to be talking to and selling themselves. I think I made the point there, but if not, I certainly will the next time, is that the most important thing that you have to sell is yourself. And so that means when you go into a meeting with someone, you've got to be ready. You got to be confident, not cocky, but confident. You got to know your material, and you got to be able to sell what you're selling, what you have to offer. So I think those type of opportunities are very important. Matter of fact, Jamie and I both encourage our students here to go to any interview that comes on campus, any company, so they can get experience. Because the worst thing you can hear is the word when you're asked a question in an interview, or when you're making a presentation to an executive. They ask you a question, you need to be ready, and you need to have anticipated those questions and be ready to address them. And Jamie?
I'd have to say my favorite part was the panel where all those who were in a Go Cloud leadership role within the escape rooms got to talk about their teams. I think
you mean the session where Mike didn't vouch for his team and say that his team was
talking about that. That's no. There was, I will say that panel kind of rings true, because we were all having fun in escape rooms, whether we were successful or almost successful in actually escaping was kind of irrelevant. To be able to take an event we all experienced, and we experienced it in groups, but to come together and kind of dissect it and have an understanding of what did we really gain from it. But then we added in humor, and we had not just the leaders that were talking, but we had all the participants, those who were in the rooms with us, sharing their thoughts and disclosing secrets that they probably shouldn't have shared with the rest of us. But they were, it was a lot of fun, but it was also so educational and rewarding, and it really rang true to see everybody get a lot of differences from the same experiences. So to be able to pull that all together and share that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it really was. And I'm going to highlight what Chris said. It wasn't that I didn't think our team did great. It was we got volunteered to do the most challenging one that they had. And I don't think any of us even knew where to begin. 30 minutes into it, when we're just trying to look at anything, they're like, maybe you got to go look at this. And we were using a clue, and their clues weren't even useful to us. So we had fun with this. It was just that we weren't going anywhere because finally, after the end, does anybody get through this? Yeah, we get people that get through it. I'm like, how many times have they been through these kind of processes? Oh, hundreds. That explains why none of us knew where to begin.
Yeah. So,
well, Chris, it was also what I saw too, and Jamie and I haven't discussed this, but the quality of participants and the quality of folks that you have in your program. I mean, you got folks that are serious for what I saw now. You got folks that are really serious and determined, and they're dialed into this program because we don't get that very often. We may get a tenth of that in our classes and so forth. So, but the people that you select or to allow to enter your programs, that said a lot to me. I saw quality folks, and that's all that credit goes to your team.
Yeah. Speaking of some of the quality folks here, I got a few of them that wanted to pop on and
Valerie, Brian, and
Richard, and Brian, awesome to see you guys.
Yeah. So, Brian, I think you had something that you wanted to ask Dr. Johnson about before he had the chance to leave. I think you said that you wanted to bring it up to him, Brian.
Well, it was a story that I've been sharing with everyone, and then Dr. Johnson, your dad, was part of our team overseeing how we conducted ourselves, and it was part of that escape room experience, and we were all on the same page of trying to find clues in the room. And it led us to a, I guess, phonetic saying where you had to pick out these letters from this map. Said, treasure is land. And there's maps on the walls. There's a giant globe in the room. There's, everything you can think of maybe like a treasure map. X marks the spot. And we're all looking for the clues around the room. It's dark. Can't really see. You got these little tiny flashlights, and we're like, okay, what's going on? And there's this bookcase in the corner. All of a sudden, I'm just standing there. A book falls down. Just what if it falls down by chance? It says Treasure Island. And we're like, hey guys, maybe we're on the wrong path here. Maybe we're like project. Maybe we gotta rethink what we're doing. And let's try this. And sure enough, we all came to consensus, and we're like, maybe Treasure Island is the way to go. And X does really mark the spot in Robert Louis Stevenson's book.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, it was fun to watch y'all go through that. It was fun to see you work together so well. And again, I know I've said it back over and over again. Those are characteristics of good leaders. No one took credit. Everybody took credit. Everybody shared with it and everything. So a good leader gives credit where credit is due and provides guidance and so forth. And I'm telling you, my group, there's the leaders right there. That's what I'm seeing. So, and just keep in mind, if you want a good recommendation, I don't charge too much. So I'll be glad to help you with that.
And if anybody wants to see Dr. Johnson with a mic drop, make sure to sign up at the link in the chat box to get the highlights, because Dr. Johnson's got his mic. He's got some mic drops in there. So yes, he did it like a pro. Tyrone, can you put that link for the sign up form to get that? There it is in the chat box. Perfect. So yeah, you can sign up there, and once we've got the highlights ready, we'll be sending them out for anyone that's interested. So
Brian brought up an interesting thing. Your frame of reference determines what you would think about something. If you've got somebody that lives in Florida, they're going to think about Treasure Island. You got a business school person or a business executive, and we're going to think land, labor, and capital are the inputs to business. So we're going to always see land is treasure. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the way we're going to see it. So it's all based upon where you're from, where your thinking is pointed. So I see where it came from. I would have thought it was treasurer's land too.
Yeah, Valerie or Richard, you got anything for Dr. John? Anything you want to share with Dr. Johnson and Dr. Long before they have to leave?
Sure, Chris. I have something to say to Dr. Long because actually I haven't shared this before, but she was the one who coached us in that escape room to come out from the first jail. And there was a very difficult exercise of putting 3 poles together and hold it steady and go get the escape key back into where we were locked out. My heart was dropping like, do not drop that pole. And Didi was with me, and we were all just doing our best to get out of jail. And she coached us through it. She coached us through it on how to join them together, hold it steady, and how to go straight and pick up the key. So thank you, Dr. Long, for being a good coach.
Y'all did great. Y'all did great. Everybody else was, in an escape room. We were actually in jail in the escape room. So we had a little extra challenge on our hands on that one.
Well, and I was watching, as I'm watching these, the videos that are being done by the editor, I can't help but keep going back to Jamie's pure upsetness that she couldn't bribe anybody in jail.
I couldn't.
You guys had apparently robbed a bank or something and were in jail, and there wasn't anybody there to bribe.
Yeah. And there was the sheriff locked us in jail and then left us there.
Yeah. Richard, you got anything? I can't hear you, Richard.
Richard, you're muted.
Try the other road, not taken.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
So
Kinda.
I was about to say that depending on what day of the week you ask me what my favorite moment was, it may change. When I left and got on the plane, I think the presentation by Dr. Johnson and Dr. Long were my favorite. I was reminiscing on those on the plane. I wanted to have the PowerPoint that they presented. It was so deep. And then as I came back and I reflected a lot more, I was like, Todd and the yoga, that was good too. And then this week, it was more about the escape room. And this is why. I've said this before. Dr. Johnson was my leader. And when we got into that room, the first room that we got into, it was super physical. You had to climb on things. You have to bend down. You have to do things. And we were all like, okay, we were working together. And I saw the man just walking around. And then at some point, I thought he was tired. He had his hands behind his back. And I'm like, we need to give this man a rest. Not knowing that he was actually there to observe us, to see us, and kind of assess how everybody was able to work under pressure. When we came back the day after, he had to give his quote-unquote report. He knew everything that was going on in that room, which led me to think that when you are called on to do anything, do your best the first time. If you think that you are an architect, act as an architect, speak as an architect, behave as an architect. And that's what we did in that room. And when he came back, he just told us what everybody did one by one. And that was very, very fulfilling to hear. And for that only, I don't have a favorite moment. It may just be the whole experience. Mike just being comfortable, going into the background, letting everybody shine. That's also a sign of a leader. Mike did not overtake the conference. We actually were the stars of that conference. Everyone who did this executive presentation, those are the stars. And Mike was just sitting down and let us shine. And that is a sign of a great leader. So it just depends. Thank you so very much. That's all I saw. That's what I lived. That's what I witnessed.
Thanks, Richard.
All right. Thank you there, Richard. Richard, if it's possible, if you can maybe turn your microphone volume up some,
Screen just froze.
that would be great. So
Would do.
there we go. That sounds good. So Dr. Johnson, Dr. Long, I know you all have to go. If you want to share any last words with us, that would be great.
Well, I'll tell you what. Overall, I think it was a wonderful conference or a summit. I believe the words that you use. I like that. I think folks took a lot away from it. I look forward if Jamie and I are to be involved in the next one. We're looking forward to having fun and doing more of it. Because, I'll tell you what, again, I think this is one of the most important things that you folks could do is bring the folks together face to face so they can talk, interact, develop those relationships even better, those networking opportunities and so forth. It just adds so much to it. Like Jamie said, added value.
Chris, you asked us earlier, what do we think was a part that the students took the most from? And I have to say the thing that impressed me most that I think the students got from that at the conference was the part where when you ask people, do you want to, or do you want to volunteer, or we just need volunteers, everybody stepped up. There wasn't somebody looking side to side waiting to see if somebody else was going to do it. Everybody was eager to get involved and wanting to be a part of it. The executive presence panel and that experience was really a fantastic experience for us. We do a lot of evaluations as teachers. We have students that do presentations and we give them feedback on what they're doing, but they're all doing it as part of a class requirement. So they're not exactly enthusiastic and concerned about their presence in the environment. They're more concerned about getting the grade and just getting down. They don't want to be a part of that if they don't have to be. But there was completely as a 180 experience going. And when you asked who wants to be a part of this, and you had immediate volunteers and people that were eager to do it. And, they had to put their pride and their self-confidence on the line to be able to get up in front of everybody and say, it was a 3-minute speech. It wasn't something that was going to be groundbreaking in that way, but it really is nerve-wracking to put yourself in front of a group of your peers and people that you respect in the field and say, judge me, tell me how I do. And it's not something that a lot of people are eager to get involved in, but you had a good group that did that. And they took the criticisms. And I have to say, we were nitpicking there, trying to find anything that would help them to improve because they were already fantastic to start with. And so it was a really great experience. And I really enjoyed the part where you had volunteers, you had people eager to be there. That added to the enthusiasm of being at the conference, the support that everybody had for one another. All of that was just a really great immersive activity. And it was one that I wish we could get more in the academic side. We could bottle that up and bring it more into our classrooms because I think students would get more out of the lessons being taught if they involved themselves in it in those ways.
All right. And I know you all have to go, but Valerie's asked to say one last thing here. So I'm going to put Valerie up. Hey, Valerie.
Hey, thank you, Chris. And Dr. Johnson and Dr. Long, I just wanted to personally thank you and commend you because what people do not know is that the two of you are, academic experts from an MBA program and other things that you teach. But you have made it, your duty to come to the Go Cloud Career Program with that talent. And it feels to me like we are getting the best of an MBA program without having gone through an MBA. So the way I look at it, this is a short cord. If you're not going to spend $150,000, you could invest in yourself and get the soft skills that come through those kind of training by, taking what you guys bring to the table. And it was to everyone at the conference that I have spoken to, just special because you have to pay separately to get that kind of training and information. And to meet you guys in person made it even more a deeper connection. You know who is talking to you, where they are coming from, and you guys got to answer our personal questions. So I really appreciate that, and I wanted to say thank you. And I think this is a gem in the Go Cloud Career Program that we have this business skills and acumen that we can get from professionals who teach and do this for a living. So this is our shortcut. Thank you.
Valerie, I want to thank you for noticing that.
Thank you.
Now,
Kind words.
the key, thank you for noticing that. What we're trying to deliver is the value of the $200,000 to $300,000 education at a price that's 2 to 3 days pay for our average graduate. And that's why we're so excited about having business school professors like Dr. Long and Dr. Johnson's come, because I want people to get that full package, because that's what it takes to be successful. It takes some executive things, it takes some tech things, it takes business fundamentals. It's the whole package. Ironically, the key to optimizing tech careers is not the tech itself. It's all those other things. The tech is a given. You have to have it. It's the entry door to the door. But the stuff that gets people promoted and paid more and gives them opportunity is all those key business things.
Right. So I want to thank Dr. Johnston and Dr. Long for joining us. Don't worry. I got a feeling we'll be seeing some more of you in person and in class on Zoom. So thank you, everybody. Let's give a thanks to Dr. Johnston, Dr. Long in the chat box. And if you want to see more of them, sign up for the Tyrone. If you can put the link to sign up for the highlights in the chat box, they can get more from them there. So thank you, doctors. Hope y'all have a great day. All right.
Thank you again.
All right. So I know we got Brian and Richard and Valerie here. They were attendees at our conference, but I am going to ask them to take a step back real quick because I've got some unexpected guests that I honestly did not expect. So I'm going to ask them to take a step back for just a second. I'll have them come back on here in just a few minutes. Gotta love live TV. It's always great. So let me do this. Let me do this. So don't go too far, y'all. Don't go too far. So let's see. Here we go.
Yvonne.
Jermaine.
Good to see you. And apparently we have the same tailor today.
Yeah,
you know what?
check out that jersey.
It's funny, where you see one, you'll always see the other.
Jermaine, I'm so happy to see you. I actually been meaning to reach out to both of you, so I'll do that afterwards.
Yeah. So
Thank
you. Thanks for joining, guys. So for those of you that may not be aware, Yvonne and Jermaine were presenters at our at the Go Cloud Career Summit that we just wrapped up. And of course, as I keep saying, if you want to catch the highlights, sign up at the link in the chat box. And as soon as we've got those ready for you, we'll be sending them out to you. But I wanted to, I'm glad that you guys were able to join us. I know y'all are both working today, as always. But I wanted to see if you guys might be able to share a little bit about what kind of like what the highlights were for you for the weekend. What were the big takeaways for each of you? And we'll start with since Yvonne went first at the conference, we'll let Jermaine go first this time. Because I know Jermaine's always trying to compete with Yvonne, so we got to keep it a little even here.
It's friendly competition, man. He's
competition. Man. Trust me, I'm watching the videos as they're coming into me, and I'm like, oh yeah, this was a competition.
So I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I appreciate you guys for inviting me to that. Didn't know how it was going to turn out. You know, sometimes maybe it's the first time someone's doing something and it's not very well organized, but this was very well put together. The sound guys, just the people that showed up, the presentations, it was excellent. Like I said, Yvonne went before me and he set the tone. I was like, oh man, how do I follow that up, right? But well, some of my favorite parts were actually just being there and meeting everyone that's in the program now and talking with them and seeing how excited they are just about learning and being there. And, you know, it's kind of being in the same room with people that feel like I feel like. I'm excited about technology. I wake up every day. I love learning the stuff on the job, you know, when they're in the chat. Actually, right now, I was telling Chris, I was doing something at work. I'm putting together a private DNS zone because they was like, hey, anybody want to try this? And I'm first to raise my hand like, hey, listen, let me try it. Let me get in there and do some stuff with you guys. We have a whole team of guys that do it, but I'm always jumping on the possibility to learn something new and get better in my position. And just to be around an atmosphere of people that were like that, and these people were smart and talented, but they were eager to learn more. We sat in the hotel by the bar, myself, Muhammad. It was so many of us, and we just talked like almost the whole night, just about technology, just about life, about the experiences. You know, I got a chance, and Yvonne got a chance to talk about our life experiences. But there are so many group members that have such fantastic stories, and I hope that you know, we do this again and we get to hear some of those stories, because There's some extraordinary stories of people that have overcome so many obstacles and are doing amazing things, and even trying to do more amazing things with their career by joining Go Cloud. It amazes me, some of the people that are so accomplished that are here to take those accomplishments further. It's like being around that energy, just it's infusing. So that was my favorite part, is the camaraderie and being around the people.
All right, all right. And just so you know, Jermaine, we already told everybody that pre-registration for the next one opens tomorrow. So the next one is going to be March 15th through 17th. So in case you don't already have plans for St. Patrick's Day, be in Orlando. So, but yeah, so that's thank you for sharing that, Jermaine. Yvonne, what are your first thoughts about the conference? What are your takeaways?
Hi everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Hi Mike. I jumped on the call and then I saw you over in the show. I was like, I don't know what to say. I think it was a very nicely put event. I really want to like first congratulate the entire Go Cloud team. Right. I think it was the first event I was able to attend from Go Cloud. No, we've been just doing live and then see people like from Zoom or on YouTube, but seeing everyone in person is very different. Like the content, you learn more about every single one. And I think for me, the entire that I don't think like it was like a very specific moment, but I would say that the entire event itself, from the Friday to Sunday, different activities, talking to people who are in the program, talking to Jermaine, for example, talking to Mike, and then talk to Alonso. I think all of that, and I really enjoy Dr. I think it was Dr. Let me make sure I have the name. Dr. Long and Dr. Johnson, a presentation, the 6 steps to strategize. I think I took like a lot of screenshot and I was able to recover everything and put it on the note, because I feel like even in what I do daily, that can be very, very helpful. It is very, very helpful. So I really enjoyed that. I wasn't able to attend the yoga, but I know some people were able to attend it. So I know people really enjoy that. But yeah, I think the entire event was great, and the escape room was it was fantastic. I mean, I never had that much fun. I think Alonso and I were like in the same team, and going from like I think our thing was we're looking for piece of evidence, going through a murder a house, and that was so fun. That was so fun. It was so fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So I gotta there was I just had a thought. It completely escaped me. So but I gotta say, I think my thought escaped me. Mike, Alonso, help me out here.
I'll tell you what I noticed, and it's particular about Jermaine and Yvonne, but I'm going to start with Yvonne. For any of you that are watching, he's not 40 years old. He sounds like he's been an architect for 20 years. He carries himself like he's been an architect for 20 years. And by the time he's 35, he will be a CIO or a CEO of a company. He's 25. But you wouldn't know it because he was so capable. And to watch him speak like a 40 or a 50-year-old architect with 20 years experience, and then have Jermaine pop in there. And it was equally as interesting from Jermaine, but he's got a couple of years on Yvonne. So he's got a little more life experience there, but to see them in action and watch them present, and to see their executive presence, and to see their knowledge, and to see them look at architecture not as just, here's the tech, but here's how I can change and modify business. It blew me away. And honestly, it was like, oh, don't take this the wrong way. It was like little Mike Enterprise Architects running out there, and it got me. So I'm just so proud of both of you.
Oh, you want to talk about little Mikes? All right. So Monday after the conference. So every Monday, this week apparently I didn't do it, but every Monday we have a 10 a.m. operations meeting for the team, for the employees at Go Cloud Careers. Me, Chow, Leo, Tyrone, Oforka, everybody. And apparently I was late for the meeting on Monday after the conference. Alonso had to remind me about it. But I pop on there and they all talk about how refreshed I look, and I'm like, God, I wish I felt refreshed. I was like, do you know what it's like to try and keep Mike in control for a 2-hour Zoom meeting? So try doing that for 5 days in real life, and then on Friday you have 30 mini mics show up, and you've got 30 mini mics and Mike that you have to keep on track for an entire weekend. That was an experience. I got to say that was quite the experience for me. There's some outtakes from this. We could do an entire 30-minute blooper reel of me trying to keep everybody under control and moving along on task and on schedule. It's fun. It's funny watching myself on these videos. I'm just like, oh wow,
Yes.
I'm like that authoritarian elementary school teacher. Like, all right, I said we're going to start back. We're starting back. But man, Alonzo, any thoughts here? Anything you want to share about Jermaine and Yvonne?
Yeah, absolutely.
You had the chance to do the discussion panel with them. So.
Yeah, it was wonderful. One of the things that I've learned early on in my career, I observe people. I observe their mannerisms, how they communicate, because it helps me to formulate what type of brand that they need to have for themselves. And the one thing that I like about these two, they're dynamic. Their iron sharpens iron. When Yvonne sets himself to do something, Jermaine says, okay, if you're doing this, I got to keep up. And they continually it's a synergistic thing. It would almost be like almost a friendly competition, but amongst friends, they're setting a standard not only for themselves but for each other. It's that if I know that I need to get this done to be successful, Jermaine, come with me on this journey. And I like how these two interact with each other to get the job done, to learn more about what it takes to be an enterprise or solutions architect, and the things that we need to do to interchange, cross-pollinate, and cross-reference what we know to get even stronger. So when I was on a panel with these gentlemen, it really shone through about who they are, where they came from, how it made them stronger, more innovative, more professional, more of a seasoned architect, even though the years on the job don't equate to the knowledge that these two have. And it was just really exceptional to be in their company and learn from it. And one of the things that I always tease Yvonne when I get a chance is that when we have the reel, when we start off, and he showed how he got his job and how excited he got, I just get hyped to hear him. And he just gets into it, and to just see these gentlemen smile, be positive, and to see there's nothing more transforming than to reach your goal and to wake up and say, I made it. And I see it in these two, and it was good to see that.
It was. And here's the thing. Look, Yvonne and Jermaine are super smart. They're super motivated and super capable. But both of them had more hardships than 99.5% of the population would ever have. And they didn't let it stop them. Whether it was Yvonne finding a family to live with when he came to America at 15 years old by himself, or whether it was some of the things Jermaine did, nothing or no one was going to stop them. And because of that, no one will ever be able to stop them. Just think of the things they're going to accomplish.
Yeah. And I think it was great to see and hear from the attendees what they got from what both of you had to say, because both of you are exactly where all of them want to be, and you were right where they are.
Yeah.
So that and I think that was a great full circle situation, and it wasn't, and the way that we did it, and Jermaine pointed this out in his presentation, is that it's a community. It's about paying it forward and pulling people along. He talks about how Angela was there for him and gave him some guidance and advice, and that he's there to do it for other people. And Yvonne, I know you're the same way. And this was just another example of being able to do that. But even outside the 1 hour presentation that each of you had, just being there and being able to talk, the stuff that we didn't capture on camera, the stuff that is happening outside the sessions, the ability of these people to be able to talk to you. And it's like, Jermaine is a real person. Mike is a real person. Yvonne's a real person. It's like, okay, Yvonne and Jermaine are real. What they did is real, and it's possible. And I can do that too. I don't know if any of you, I don't know if either one of you spoke to people and got that feel from people, but I did.
I think that was definitely probably a major impact that people received from the from the weekend. It was we are not random people that you guys went and find, like, okay, we know this guy, he's doing great, right? And we have a company, you're gonna bring him so he can talk to you about this, right? We're actually people who went through the program, right? But most importantly, we're people that didn't have a tech background, because sometimes people go join the program just like, I don't have any tech experience, from the fact that I was still in college, or Jermaine was like doing his loan thing, right? Like his loan business. So now everyone coming knows that, right? We didn't have that extensive background. Sometimes people are scared that they don't have, so therefore they might not be able to learn a position as an AC or everything, every type of job in a cloud, right? That was one thing. So when I think people attendees coming to that and be able to see that, okay, we went through the program, we did it, we did what we're supposed to do, and it actually pays off. I think it speaks volume, and people are more willing, like, to put the work, because they know that there's not magic, right? You won't just attend the program and you will get it, but you have to put in the work to be able to get all the fruit that comes after, right? So I think that was probably a major impact. So I really like the mix of panelists, and that was really well put together.
Yeah. So I'm gonna. I've got a couple of people that attended the conference. I'm gonna bring up. I know Yvonne and Jermaine. I know both of you are working, and you probably got a schedule to stick to. But I wanted to bring some of these guys on just to see if they've got anything to share with you, and then I'll let you guys go back to work, I guess. So I'll got Brian and Valerie and Richard here, and yeah. So Brian, I don't, maybe start with you if you've got anything to share.
I just want to say it was wonderful seeing Yvonne and Jermaine. They're real people. I just want to emphasize that we spent the last year, for some, maybe less or more for others, of seeing this two-dimensional box. Now we're in this 3D environment where we're actually shaking hands, hearing their personal stories, sharing, interacting. It's the first time I met both these gentlemen, and it was wonderful. I couldn't get enough of their knowledge, and seeing what they do in their everyday lives as working architects. It was wonderful knowledge. We hear Mike always mentioning that it's not always about the tech; it's always about the soft skills, the leadership. And these two gentlemen, epitomize that, and they share their stories like, this is a real thing. This is what we're all striving to be. So I greatly enjoyed their presentations and everyone else's.
Thank you, Brian.
I'll go. So when anyone asks me whether going to Orlando was worth it, I always talked about a couple things, right? So the presentation from Ivan, I was not expecting the depth to which he was willing to go to share with us all the adversity that he had to overcome and how much of a plan he set up for himself. Ivan, I played your video twice in the car driving with my wife. I played it, and then the second time I did not ask to play again. She asked me to actually play that again, and I did. And I have a photo that I took with Jermaine, like in the back in the office right here, when we went to eat. And this is just to emphasize the fact that we are not just following people who are successful. We are willing to learn from the experiences, knowing that if you have a plan, there is nothing that can derail you. And so meeting Yvonne, meeting Jermaine face to face, and just seeing how humble they were, like how willing they were to share the example. I remember Jermaine told me, and I'm not going to reveal what he told me, but he said, hey, I'm very open about how much I get paid. And he told me how much he was making. And I was like, really? He just told me, and he's like, yeah, just for that. I wake up in the morning, I walk my dog, and I come back and see it, and it's a beautiful life. It is a beautiful life that Jermaine is living, right? And I want to live that life. I want to be there. And because I know myself, I know that if I put in the work, no matter what the situation is, just like what Ivan said, I will get there. And I know everyone will get there. We just have to keep, doing the work and making sure that we leverage all these relationships, knowing that the networking is the element that is going to allow us to move forward and build the career that we dream to have. So again, it was humbling to see you both there, and isn't I'm grateful for having made the trip there. So again, thank you so much for coming there despite your busy schedule.
Thank you, Richard.
I'm gonna add to what Richard was saying a while ago because when I tuned in on here for the Zoom and I saw Richard, I saw Brian, and I saw Valerie here, I was like, these were some of my favorite guys because the one thing about that I've learned working in technology, currently the team that I work on, I love my team. Right? We get up in the morning, we're on Zoom, we're joking. It helps me to wake up in the morning, right? And if you notice when Richard speaks, he has a positive, really positive energy about himself, and that's in real life also. And when you're in an interview, if you speak like Richard speaks, you may not know anything about the tech, but a manager is like, you know what? This is a guy that I can see on my team. My team will love this guy. I'm in the position I'm in now because someone reached out to me and said, Jermaine, don't worry about it. We'll train you, right? We'll get you to wherever you need to be if you want us to pay for you the certifications, whatever it is. But I know you're a good fit for the team, right? And when I see the personalities of these guys and when I met them in person, I have no doubt that Richard's going to be successful, Valerie's going to be successful, and Brian's going to be successful. Valerie, we sat at dinner and we started talking about DevOps. I said, I'm going to test him. I was like, explain it to me. And this guy got excited, right? He was see the smile on his face, like, yes, I get to speak about what I love. And that's the energy that I really like being around. And I just saw Richard speaking just now, and I just had to say that before I come off because that was one of my things. I love the energy. I look at Richard now and I see him. He takes pictures at conferences when he goes, and I want to meet up with these guys again, right? Because of the energy. This is what employers want to bring to their teams.
Thank you, Jermaine.
And Valerie, you got called out there. You got any response?
Oh yeah, I do. And first
I
of
love
all,
it.
I want to start by thanking the Go Cloud Career team for deciding to make this step, because this is an addition to the program. For those of us who have been here, we know this is the first summit ever. If there's one person I want to thank, maybe more especially, is Chris for pushing Mike to the wall. And said, we gotta do this.
It took my entire career worth of learning sales to make this happen.
But you did it.
I had to sell Mike on this.
It must be tough to sell something to a sales guy, but you sold it. So you're also a salesperson. But it has really enriched my experience in this program because, when I connected with the people that I connected during the program, like Didi, Terrence, Mo, Billy, the guys, they all had the same experience. And this is what they were saying. For anyone who has started the program and then became demotivated for one reason or another, or life came in, just this in-person meeting was a big motivation for them to go back and just get whatever needs to be done for them to complete the program and move on. So I want to thank you for that, because for me, that was an added level of connection to the program, because we weren't just looking at people on the screen. I've heard Ivan's story multiple times in the program, but when I saw him and his story of studying in engineering and desiring to become an SA, I could just see myself exactly trying to do that for a long time. And I'm like, somebody has actually done it. I'm going to walk this path now, whatever it takes. So when you meet a real person that you talk to who had different struggles, different things going on, they just solidify your tenacity to be able to endure adversity and overcome whatever is stopping you, because people have different situations. And when Jermaine explained to us the things he had to go through, I had so much love for him that I wanted to just sit
Yeah.
beside him and talk
Yeah.
more.
He
I
needs
mean,
to write a book.
I think he needs to write a book. Yes, you were so right, Richard. He needs to write a book. And so for me, this was the in-person connection that really solidified our experience in this program, because students are in different places, but when they come together, you can see where you are and where you need to be. And when I was there, I saw where I am and where I need to be. So these are the people that I need to be, and I'm going there.
So yeah, I just I might.
Oh, I'm
Can you
gonna
hear
I'm
me?
gonna let Jer- I'm gonna
All right,
let
Jim.
Jermaine say a few words because he's got to get off here
Yeah, yeah,
for
yeah,
work.
okay.
And then Yvonne, let me know if you need to go as well. I'll
Yeah, yeah, yeah. After Jermaine, I will say a few words before.
Okay, all right. I'll let you two wrap up, and thank you for joining us. So, Jermaine, the floor is yours. You got
Yeah, I
any
just wanted to
last
say,
words for us?
no, I just want to say thanks to the team. Thanks for Chris, Mike, Lonzo, just the entire Go Cloud community for helping me. Even in my life today, there's still community members that help out. It was my birthday the other day, and my mentor Angelo sent me a IRE shirt from Jamaica. So, for me, and she doesn't have to do this. I know Angelo has his life; he's got his kids, he's got a lot going on. But when he takes his time out to do something like that for me, or just to check in on me, my thing is I'm just paying that forward. So whenever you guys hit me up and ask me to help you out, and you're like, I'll do something for you in return, it's already paid in full, right? The only thing I want to see is you guys successful. I would love to see to Richard, Valerie, Ryan, anybody in the community to have a success story and be coming up there speaking at the next conference, and I'll be sitting in the audience, taking notes also, and I'll be competing with you too, right? You'll set the bar, and I'll move up, right? So, that's my whole thing. I'll always be part of the Gold Cloud community. Anytime Mike and Chris call me, if I have time, I jump in because um, I really want to see people that are like myself or going through something, because we're this journey sometimes it gets hard, and you start feeling rejected, and you start feeling like I don't know enough, or maybe I'm not enough. But the thing that myself and Yvonne, even though we came from different paths, I think the thing that brought us together is we refuse to quit, and we refuse to let our circumstances get the best of us. And that's why I'm glad that he's my brother. Every time you see me, you usually see him. And I hope that everybody else, we want more people into the brotherhood. So that's what I have to say.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you
Awesome.
so much,
Jermaine.
Jermaine.
And happy belated birthday.
Happy belated birthday. I'm assuming Angelo is our Angelo, and Jermaine,
Yeah.
you make it to Florida, you make it to my house. I'll cook some saltfish and ackee for you. I'll have a couple of red stripes, and you name it. I've got the full Jamaican kitchen in my house, and I'm not joking.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jermaine. All right, Yvonne, I know you got work to do too. If you got any last words you'd like to share.
Yeah. So before starting, I want to say thank you to the entire Go Cloud team, but especially thank you to to Mike. I remember when I joined. Sorry, I remember when I joined the program. You were talking about like this was a dream for you to build a community, right? It wasn't centric around you making money out of us attending a program, right? It was mostly building a community where we can help each other. And I really think that you've succeeded, right? You've built that community, right? When you see from people helping other people, reaching out to LinkedIn, asking for help, I think you've really succeeded to build that community, and this is working, right? GoCloud is actively working. But what I really like and really enjoy, and every time someone reach out to me on LinkedIn or text message asking me, what do you think about the program? Should I join the program? What I always say is I really like this program because of the executive, all the soft skills, right? Because that's something that I didn't go through. I don't know. I didn't take a class in college that prepared me for this type of a conversation, soft skill, see executive conversation. But I really enjoy and we're able to get it from the program. So that's the first thing I always recommend people join the program, because that's something that doesn't only impact you in what you do, in your work, but even out. out of work, right? When you interact with people, right? That's a very important, kind of quality or kind of skills to have. So thank you very much. It was a great weekend. I'm looking forward to next year. I hope I'll be able to bring more, to give back more to the community and support more people. And thank you for for doing what you're doing. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, Yvonne. Just having you here it always makes me happy. You can see how it affects me because I just watched you grow. I've told the two people in my life, if I had a son, I'd want him to be like you, and you're one of them. So keep doing what you're doing. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you very much.
And I'm glad you noticed those other things, that you use them not only at work, but every day. And that's one of the reasons we put it here, because I really wanted to make a difference in everybody's life. And thanks for noticing. Thanks for your support. And thank you for sharing your wisdom with our student base.
Always.
All right. Thank you, Yvonne. And of course, everybody, if you want to get more from Yvonne and Jermaine, make sure to sign up for those highlights. As soon as we've got those highlights ready, we'll be sending them out to everybody that signed up for them. You don't want to miss them, I promise.
No.
Some amazing stories and some amazing experiences there.
Right.
Thank you, Yvonne. Have a good rest of the day. All right. So before we get started on the next, before we get started with the rest of all of you, I've got a video that was sent in from another one of our attendees. Flora wasn't able to join us today, but Flora recorded a video for us that we're going to share here real fast. And I got a feeling we can use it kind of as a catalyst to continue our conversation here. So let me put this up here. All right.
What was my favorite part of the summit? Well, prior to this experience, I often felt a sense of intimidation while in class. I'm filled with these such skilled individuals, and I now am meeting real Mike, Alonzo, and Chris, and my peers. Yikes. What was I thinking? The moment I entered into this room, I was immediately struck by this electrifying atmosphere. The anticipation, the excitement, and it just kept on escalating with each passing moment. It's kind of similar to that, the energy you get when you're waiting in line for the roller coaster and you take a step further and a step further and you get a little nervous and excited. And then it finally gets there and you sit down and you just tell yourself, hold on. It was truly inspiring to see many people from every various walks of life engaging and just listening and just being real with one another. It was so amazing. And so in actuality, the Go Cloud career community was the most important part, my favorite part of the summit. Thank you.
Wow.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Is it still playing on your end? It's playing on my end. All right. I'm going to have to refresh my screen here. All right. So I got to say, I was blown away by the whole experience. I was completely and absolutely blown away by the experience. It exceeded every possible scenario and expectation that I had. So when I saw Flora's video there, I was kind of like, that's a really nice way of putting how I felt about it too. So I'm curious from a participant standpoint, Valerie and Brian and Richard, I'm curious, what were your expectations? Like, why did you feel the desire or the need to attend the event, and what was the purpose behind it? And then counter to that, what was the outcome of it?
Dr. Val?
And by the way, apparently Valerie's got a PhD that nobody knew about. See, you come to the conferences, you find out things.
Well, well, well.
So we'll start with Valerie. Oh,
Nicely
by the
played,
way,
Richard.
Valerie, somehow I have 2 bottles of this.
No, hey, I want my syrup in the mail.
So Alonzo did not have a
The
check.
only reason why is because I couldn't, because the ounce is too much for me to carry on the plane. So I somehow I trusted Chris with my syrup, and now he won't give it back.
Yeah. So
Oh,
in
boy.
actuality, this is the only one left at this point. So
It better remain that way.
Valerie, back to the question, what was your purpose, or what was your desire for attending the conference, and what did it turn into? Where did it go from there?
So, as I think Jermaine had alluded in his talk, before coming to the Go Cloud Career Conference, I had been taking, a DevOps CI/CD automation program, which I think I talked a little bit during the summit. And just before I was about, to get to work, and my friend told me, like, you're good, but your knowledge needs to be granular, fundamental. You need to understand the details of what this is all about. So he recommended me into Mike's program. And 5 minutes of listening to Mike's present on YouTube and talk about it, I was telling him, if you're serious about it, then you're going to have to pay for it. And he did. He did pay for me too. But coming to the conference was for me to be able to come and maybe encounter this training in a more personal way. However, even though I thought it was an opportunity for me to network and see what my training is leading me towards, it turned into a life transforming moment for me, because not just did I get the network and the connections and the knowledge made, but you get this inner sense of purpose for what you are doing and who you're doing it with. And I felt connected to the Go Cloud Career family at the summit. And I mean, I finally met Chris in person. I've always seen him in the box. And I met Alonzo, and I met, Mike himself. The first person I actually met was Doug. And it was a surprising experience because I've always seen Doug in the box. So we both saw each other, and he's like, "That's Val." And I'm like, "That's Doug." While we're screaming, Mike is looking at us. I don't know, it is Mike, because when we look at Mike on the screen, you assume he's probably of the same body size and shape like Chris. No, that is not true. You have to meet them in person. He is pretty stocky. He's pretty strong. He looks like an ex-Navy SEAL or something. So when I finally realized that was Mike, it just felt like this is a person you've been learning from or having as a mentor in this program, but you have actually met the real person. You felt connected. You felt purposefully led. So that's one of the things that I took from this summit, to meet the people with whom you're walking this journey with together and being purposefully led by a great, great, great mentor.
Thank you, Valerie.
Good stuff there. Good stuff. So, seeing people outside of a box is kind of surreal, I guess, in these days, ever since everybody started existing in boxes. Again, one of the reasons why I wanted to do the conference, just to get us out of that box. I think, how many times did I say that, Mike? How many times did I say that in my sales pitch?
A lot. But see, what you don't understand, Chris, is this. In my old life as an architect, here's what conferences meant. Be up at 4 o'clock in the morning, stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning, entertaining clients, drinking scotch and steaks, and sell stuff the whole time. I never had a chance to actually go to the conference and just meet people for fun, get to be myself for fun, and get to really interact with everybody for fun. Conferences for me were like upsell somebody on something. And then Chris was like, I got you a name tag. And I'm like, I'm not wearing a name tag. Name tags work. I'm done with work. I do this because I love it. I retired when I was 34. This thing is just pure love to watch people get hired.
Yeah, I still got your name tag, Mike. You never. I mean, I guess if there's anybody that doesn't need a name tag at the conference, it's probably Mike. So,
yeah, that's safe to say.
Yeah, but yeah, no, but getting outside the box, figuratively and literally, was one of the reasons for the conference.
Yeah.
And Daniel, thank you for the Chuck Norris mug, Daniel. Gotta appreciate it. That's what I'm drinking out of. Got my maple syrup and my
No, let's clarify that. You ate your maple syrup. That's my maple syrup.
All right. So Richard, what was your why? Like what prompted you to want to take part in it, and what was your main takeaway or takeaways?
Well, my expectations were multi-pronged. There was an element that wanted me to really physically, finally meet Mike and the entire leadership of Go Cloud, but also to see some of my colleagues. So going there, I knew that I was going to meet the people that I wanted to meet. So if you recall, when I hugged Mike for like 3 minutes, right? And dude is tall. Mike is super tall.
He's tall.
He's strong.
He's strong.
When you look at Mike in that little box that we are proverbially talking about, you have no idea how strong the man was. So I hugged Mike. I think Alonso actually hugged me more than I hugged him. And then when I saw Chris, I'm like, hey, Chris, here you are. So I was kind of jumping because there was a realization that this was actually real. We are who we were waiting for. So we got to see each other face to face. And then very quickly, things got real. They got serious. We had the yoga session. We were put on a schedule. Chris is kind of a master metronome. Okay, so like bam, boom, 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 boom. No. That's operations. And I've told Chris before, watching him work, that I'm kind of amazed how much he does with little, right? I'm talking about the personnel. So I saw Chris at work as an operation guy, but also saw the selflessness of Mike and the apropos remarks of Alonso. He will always say the things like in a very timely way. And so in terms of leadership, it was great to be there. I learned a lot from Jermaine. I learned a lot from Yvonne. There was another gentleman that I met there, Jeremy. I don't know if anybody noticed, but we actually had one person in the room who also got hired, who was a cloud architect, who was there, but was a little, he was a little bit kind of subdued. He didn't want to participate a lot in talking, but he was there. We got to meet him. Mark Trimble, I got to see Mark. I was humbled to see that he took the trip to come there. He was probably, the senior amongst all of us, but he was there smiling, learning, mingling, and the human element could not be more evident on display, right? So we embrace our humanity, knowing that we all are in technology, but we embrace our humanity, and we shared and we learned and we had the most fun. So leaving the conference kind of left me with a sense of nostalgia. So March it is, March 2024. We are going to be there, and I'm encouraging. Put me on all. If you want me to be the spokesperson of this thing, just go ahead and do it.
Sounds great, Richard. Richard, I sure hope you're at the next one.
So everybody, be on the lookout for the 30-second promotion for Richard LaPasa about the March 2024.
And Richard, you and Douglas got to see a very different side of me. I mean, at the level of architect that I am, I can't naturally act like a techie in front of a client. They come to me for business solutions. But, when I'm talking to you about color temperature on video cameras, and I'm talking to Douglas about how these audio interfaces and mixers work and where the audio signals are going and how we're amplifying, to me, it was like a kid in the candy store.
Oh, yeah, trust me. So I went through the whole RFP process for hotels and events, event space for March. Like literally, people like on Friday before the event even started, people were asking when the next one was. So by Monday, I had already submitted RFPs to everybody. Like, give me your rates. But they asked me, they're like, so how much time do you need for setup on Friday? And I'm like, well, what could probably normally be done in an hour with my people takes 5 hours because they get all excited and all distracted by the tech. but yeah, that was funny. And it was also funny when Mike tried to say at the conference that he's not a techie, but he's secret. No, I think you said something about secretly being a techie, and I was like, it's not a secret, Mike. It's not a secret at all. You're a techie. So,
yeah, I mean, how many 4K, 6K, and 8K cameras did we need to bring? I mean, how many studio microphones did we need?
Yeah.
And then the output is great. I mean, the quality of the video, the quality of the sound. Kudos to Doug, who's not here, but I mean, it was a great production, and I know that if Chris and Alonso kind of try to disseminate all these videos, we will have a packed house. We're gonna need a bigger boat, right?
Well, we might have gotten a bigger boat. Just wait. So, all right. So, Brian, what was your purpose, or what was your desire that drove you to register for this, and what was the outcome or the takeaway from it for you?
Well, first, I just want to say it was shocking meeting everyone. I remember Richard coming up to me, and I had like a pause in my brain saying, "Is this Richard?" Like I couldn't believe that I was actually meeting everyone in person. It was just shocking. So it was always like a delay reaction with me, like, "Oh, I'm meeting them." I'm like, "Speak, Brian." So it was just that general, feeling of overwhelmingness coming over you, and just meeting everyone. And it, like you mentioned, Chris, it's a surreal experience. Just meeting everyone, because you're talking to people in Slack. Again, you got this two-dimensional box, and you're just trying to put everything together physically there. But the purpose for me to go there was not only to meet and make connections, but just try something different and test yourself a little bit. Like I wanted to immerse myself in the Go Cloud experience. I sat front row. Valerie was my table mate, I'll call it. We talked a bit, joked around. I heard Richard's life story on there, and it's fascinating if you get to talk with him later on. It's very fascinating on that. And then going out to dinner with everyone and sharing stories of our experiences in Go Cloud. You'd be surprised that a lot of us, in the program, we have the same experiences. We have the same, doubts, I'll call it. But then the same obstacles that we're all trying to overcome, and our end goal is all the same. So all that is that shared experience, and what I felt at the conference. It's just, I don't know. I just want to say thank you to everyone. I'm just lost for words still, and just thanking me, Alonzo, Mike, Chris. It's just overwhelming experience. I say, just if I had any advice for anyone to attend this next conference, immerse yourself. Be part of that executive presence. You'll probably see all of us when we did our speeches that it's life altering. It's just, just be up front and just sharing, the knowledge with everyone.
So while I got you up here, the last thing you just said, what was it like for you? What was that experience of practicing the executive presence in person like for you? Because you were one of the You and Valerie were two of those. I think there were 6 that volunteered to take part in that executive presence. What was that like for you?
So it's one thing to be sitting, in your chair. You got your camera and you got your lighting, and you don't have a live audience. You have an audience in front of you, but you don't have people looking back at you physically. So having that. And I've given speeches before in front of people, but since the pandemic, it's been on and off where you just get that surrealness coming at you. And, it's real. It's showtime now to try and give that information and not be nervous, be articulate, and then share the knowledge that you have, but just express it and just move forward. It's, again, I think if you go through the program, follow the steps, it all comes together in the end, and then you can just move forward and trying to express yourself, and that knowledge that, again, that it's inside you, just let it out. I shared some advice with some of the other students who are new to the program, where you see us and how we present that we weren't always there, and that it's something that you work on. As long as you keep practicing, I would say that you always get there. You'll eventually get there.
And I think you were actually the one that that Dr. Johnson made the first comment about. I actually learned something from these presentations today. So that was kind of funny to hear that Dr. Johnson learned more about cloud computing in
These are so
6 3-minute
recovery.
yeah. So
well, I give a lot of credit to Dr. Johnson, Dr. Long. They have great advice for those that seen them in the YouTube channels or are part of the class and the program. That their feedback is invaluable. You're getting that MBA level experience, and just get that feedback. I was very proud. I was happy that they were ecstatic actually with their feedback.
And you're talking about that in-person feedback about your presentation.
Yes, in-person feedback from them. And if you haven't seen the mic drop, Dr. Johnson's a very funny man. He's very articulate, and if you don't know him, he doesn't hold back. So.
Yeah. We actually had to teach Dr. Johnson what a mic drop was. So if you want to see Dr. J doing a mic drop, sign up for that. Sign up for those highlights, and you won't be disappointed. I promise.
It's a natural.
So, Valerie, I know you also did the executive presence. What was that like for you to be able to do that? And get the feedback from Mike and Dr. Johnson and Dr. Long in person. What was that like for you?
To me, Chris, thank you. That executive presence session was very, very important for me because that's something that I see as the gold in this program. And I've said that so many times to some of the guys that I was with. I was with Mo, Terrence, Flora, Brian, Doug, some of the guys that we hung out throughout the evening, because you get trained in a career, but you don't get trained to work in the workplace. And most people, even finishing graduate school, not just doing their undergrad, they now have to function in the workplace. And they don't know their own blind spots, shortcomings, weaknesses, or what they need to improve on. Now, here we are in a program where I don't know how Mike made this connection, but the connection has already been established. He has 2 faculty members teaching soft skills, business skills, executive presence, and with himself as mentor for the program. That just goes to add for us who are, undergoing this program, something that you wouldn't be able to afford without spending a lot of money. I mean, well, Mike says he spent hundreds of thousands of dollars. You can only get into an MBA program or, go and invest in yourself. So this, to me, is the gold in the Go Cloud Career Program, because I just finished a program in which I was trained in DevOps, CI/CD, automation, configuring pipelines. And when Jermaine asked me how to set up a pipeline, I was in the spot to, reel. But knowing all of that and not knowing how to be able to sell it or how to be able to work with people, present the tech, sell the tech to a non-tech, sell the tech to a tech, sell the tech to the CEO, those are all different scenarios. And you might even think that you could scale through it, but to sustain a job and do it well, you need these skills to become part of you naturally. So I just felt like we needed more of it, Chris. It shouldn't just be at the
end. We got more coming, I promise. March 15th through 17th. March 15th through 17th. Pre-registration opens tomorrow. I promise everybody. Pre-registration opens tomorrow. If you're in the program, you'll get an email. I promise. Now, one thing I want to say, and this is what I forgot when I lost my thought earlier with Yvonne. Yvonne mentioned that he couldn't do the yoga in the mornings. What surprised me was that, let me pull out my calculator here. Let me do some quick math. So we had we had 66% of the attendees take part in yoga at 8 a.m. on Saturday. I was blown away by that. And I know everybody on the call here, except me and Mike, took part. So I was there. I was just busy running around doing stuff. But Mike got the opportunity to relax and enjoy a conference for once. But the thing that truly surprised me is that on Sunday morning, after everybody apparently had a blast at Korean barbecue, Saturday night, on Saturday morning, that number only went down to 55%. So after the late nights on Saturday night, you all know how conferences go. So we still had a great turnout for the yoga. What does anybody have anything to say about Todd and the yoga and the meditation and emotional intelligence aspect that we brought in there?
Absolutely. So when I was interviewing for some managerial position before at Apple, I caught myself sweating a lot, right? So, I remember one of these interviews happened with the regional manager who went on to become like a VP at Apple. So he came down and he told me, and that was my interview. He said, "Let's take a walk." So we took a walk, and when he started asking me questions, the questions were not about, this job portion of, of Apple or anything. It's just like normal conversation. And I was sweating and I was sweating and I was sweating. So at some point he told me, okay, well, you might want to do some yoga. And I didn't really talk anything about it. I didn't even think anything of it because it was like, okay, well, what does yoga have to do with me sweating? I mean, I'm sweating because I'm nervous or something like that. Some people would say you have hyperhidrosis or whatever, and I'm a weightlifter. I lift weight. So the last time I came to Orlando and the yoga session, that was my first yoga, actually, my very first one in my whole life. So we went through the yoga thing, and I was maybe behind Valerie or behind Emmanuel Opari. And I started sweating. And I'm like, oh my gosh, not again. But that is exactly how I knew myself functioning. And then as Todd was talking and kind of inviting us to calm down, to bring our attention to our breathing, it stopped. The following day, the same thing, when we went back there, then I was not sweating anymore. So what I'm doing now is to kind of incorporate some of the yoga concepts, because the day I interview for enterprise architects, I don't want to see myself sweating. I don't want to convey anything that may betray my nervousness. So yoga is going to be the way to go for me. Actually, this morning I woke up doing my meditation before even touching my phone. I did it yesterday. It worked out great. This morning I did it again. It's going to be a way of life. And it's not something separate from what we are called to be. The calmer you are under pressure, the more you are aware of your own feelings, the better leader you are going to be. So I think Todd and what he did with us and for us was invaluable, at least something that's going to stick with me for my professional life going forward.
Mhm.
Yeah, yep. Good stuff there. So,
And before we leave that, and then we'll have Vari's perspective, I want to address a couple things Richard said. So in an interview, you don't want to be nervous. And first, it's embarrassing if you're covered in sweat.
Right.
That doesn't bode well. But here's the other thing. Most people don't really think of the neurology. Right now, we're using our prefrontal cortex, the logical thinking part of our brain. This is where we're smart. When we get stressed, that shuts down. And the part of our brain that gets active is the amygdala, which we share in common with crocodiles, alligators, and a whole bunch of other little predators that are out there. And that's the reason where if we get really stressed, we get kind of dumb. And it's the reason where if our wife or brother or sister says something to us when we're really stressed, we might give a response that we regret later because the good part of our brain shuts down. And let's face it, on an interview, you're going to be stressed. When you're presenting to a meeting for $1 billion deal and your $400,000 bonus that year is all based on that one deal, you're going to be stressed. And I want you to be calm and smart. So that's why I love yoga so much.
Yeah. True.
yeah. So I've got I've got some short highlight clips from a couple of the presenters that I'd like to share with everybody. And of course, if you want to get more of these, you can put them in. You can sign up at the link that was just shared in the chat box. But the first one I want to do, and of course, I waited until they weren't here. I've got Yvonne and Jermaine. So I got a couple of highlights from their presentation that I'm going to show real fast. Which one do we want to do first, guys? Yvonne or Jermaine?
Order of appearance.
Order of appearance. All right. So Yvonne went first, and I guess that makes sense because I think in this highlight clip, I think Jermaine actually referenced something from Yvonne. So that makes sense. So we'll play Yvonne first. And yeah, if you want to get some more of these, make sure you sign up at the link in the chat box. That'll be the only way to get more of these highlights. So play this. It's going to be a couple of minutes here, but it's got some good stuff, I promise.
The first picture that you see on the far left, that's me when I was 2015, April 2015. That's probably 5 months before I left Cameroon, because I'm from Cameroon, Central Africa. Before I left Cameroon to come to America, that's 5 months. I was working in this place where we make parpaing. Parpaing is like a block of concrete that's used to people buy to build their houses. I was making I did the math last night, and I was making $8.02 per day doing it. So it's very difficult because you have to carry them from one location to another. I always thought that whatever happened in my life, I have to take it from a positive way because I'm the result of the experience that I go through, positive or negative. Because sometimes we can see an experience as something be negative, right? But maybe it is what shapes us, right? And I've always seen it as a positive experience. What is an architect? So we have. I decided to bring to have this kind of contracts, right? First, we have the construction. So in construction, they say an architect is a licensed design professional who plans, design, and oversees the construction of buildings. That's on the construction side, right? On the cloud side, we have a solution architect is a informational technology and IT professional, right? Who design, implement solution to solve complex business problems. What I want to focus on especially on the construction side, is the plan, right? You don't just build, you plan first, right? You decide to plan what you want to do, right? And then you design it. Or someone who has a plan about what they want to do tomorrow has more tools because they know what they don't have yet for them to accomplish that plan, right? If you don't have a plan, then you just go about not even knowing what's required for you to get there. But once you have a plan, you started putting down all the skill necessary for you to get there, for you to get what you want to have. And once you do that, then it's easy for you to design, right? You know exactly what you're designing because you're designing based on the plan, right? You're also designing based on the problem. The why is what separates champions from average people, I believe, right? Because if you have a strong why, right, you can do anything. If you have a strong why, you can work more hours. If you have a strong why, I think you can outwork someone who has a strong why. Because if my why to get something is because I want, let's say, a piece of cake, it's different from someone who is doing something because his why is to be able to feed 100 people, or to be able to maintain or to send his kid to school. A piece of cake is nothing. That why is not strong enough for you to go above and beyond. But once you want to know that you have to feed your kids, your family, you have your mom who's sick, you have people that that depend on you, that why is completely different. You're like an animal, if you want to put it like that, right? You will go above and beyond, and the why is very important. The fourth is believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. I think this is also very important. But I have to believe in myself because it's only to believe it to myself that I'm able to push something like that, right? Where I wasn't expected, right? Where someone like me wasn't expected. Someone would know not only know experience as an architect, but also know experience, know interview experience. And that's very important because sometimes we think that we need to have, 100, maybe 10 to see many people doing it to be able to do it, right? But I was able to believe in myself that I can just do it on a one try. And that's what the last one is, prepare for every interview like it was the only one you will ever have. started applying, and I think I applied for like 10 positions. They always send you the email that you're not taking into consideration for the position at midnight. So every time I was studying, and then by the time I go to bed at midnight, I receive an email. Sorry, you're not considered for this position. I was like, wow, okay, 9 left. Then maybe 2 days later, I go to bed again, and then I know already how it works. Midnight again, I have another email. Sorry, you're not taking the course. I was like, wow. Now I only have 7. So I was like, this is not working, because I think I received like maybe 6. Right? I said, people working there, they're all human beings just like me. They might have some talent, they might have some skill that I don't have. But I do also have some skills that they don't have, right? Because to take that much time to do something means you need to be patient with yourself first. Sometimes people are not patient with yourself. When they get on the first try, they will just give up, right? They used to get it on the first try. When they get on the first try, they become nervous, right? The more time I spend on it, the more I like it. I like challenges. I'm a challenge person, right? The more difficult it is, because my life prepared me for that, right? I lost everything. I grew up poor, so I started from the bottom. I can only go up. So I remember when I jumped in an interview, one interviewer, he was like, "Wow, you have a suit. Hold on. Let me go wear mine." It was like, and then he was like, "Oh, I don't even have one." Oh, sorry. So thank you very much.
Okay, well, that was a really wonderful video.
I think it's just a real, just how everything, the synergy of how everything came together is just, you would think that, sometimes when you meet someone virtually and then actually you see them in person, sometimes it may be underwhelming. But in this instance, everyone was exactly who they were on the Zoom calls or on Slack or whatever. And being able to make that physical connection, it was even better than I could have ever thought possible. So yes, it's kudos to everyone that was on the panel, to Valerie, Richard, to Brian, and just I've had a chance to speak to them individually, each one, and it was just wonderful just speaking to these gentlemen. I can't speak about them enough.
So can I go after Alonso? We went there expecting to learn about cloud architecture or how to be hired in cloud. What Yvonne did was that perfect connection and establishing a nexus between your moral compass and the determination that you had to have in order for you to be to prevail. So I told you earlier that my wife made me play that video twice. And the part that she loved the most was the why. Your why has to be stronger than the other person's why. What is your why? Once you find the why, then guess what is gonna happen? You will find out how to get there. And I never thought about it that way, but since she made me listen to it like so many times, and I was in the room when he said it, I think it's important for us to kind of go back, right? And just act as if we were architecting our own lives, our own career. Let's architect our own career knowing what the why is. Once we know that why, what it takes to accomplish the why, what needs to be done, we will find it. And I'm sure we're all going to find that to get where we wanted to go.
And there's something I want to point out, that was 5 minutes of his presentation. That was 5 minutes of his presentation. His presentation was 50 minutes, I believe. Mm-hmm. So, make sure if you want to get more from that, make sure you sign up for those sign up for the highlights in the chat box there. And of course, you can also pre-register for the next one starting tomorrow. We'll be sharing that with everybody. So, I really enjoyed it. I thought that was a great. Yvonne's presentation was great, and his presentation was how to get hired, how I got hired with no experience. That was the basis of his presentation. So, Valerie, I know you were about to say something.
Yeah, his presentation was inspirational, and I've watched it again. I'm actually now watching. If I open my Go Cloud Career tab, it will be on Jermaine's presentation on the slide where he's talking about the lessons he learned from his lawn.
Hey, don't spoil my highlights, man. I wouldn't.
I got highlights coming. So Yvonne's presentation was sensational, and for me, it even gave me a lot more of what Richard was saying, my why. And if my why is strong enough, then I'll be able to complete what I'm going after. Because I mean, this is a guy who was studying, he was in college studying computer engineering. Same thing like I was doing. I was studying engineering, but desiring to work in tech. And I'm like, similar paths but different obstacles. And he even made sure to explain the fact that our challenges will be different, and the fact that you may have an experience which you think is bad, but is actually good. And someday I'll tell you about that.
Yeah. All right. So our next one, I'm going to play some highlights from Jermaine, and then we'll wrap up our show. Let me get this started here.
One day on YouTube, here's this guy. And I'm looking at it. He's like on YouTube Live, and I'm listening to what he's saying. He's like, "This is what a load balancer is. Hey, let me break it down into you in normal terms. Like, this isn't certification stuff. Let me teach you in real life. Take my course, build an actual server." And I was like, "What? Wait!" I got on right away. This was the first purchase I've ever made in 5 minutes. I purchased my course immediately, and I got in. I met Yvonne, and that's how I'm here today. What my lawn taught me about me as a person. So I sell landscaping equipment. My lawn sucked. It was embarrassing, right? I would get home and I open my garage, you see landscaping equipment everywhere. But I'm from New York. I've never mowed a lawn. I pay somebody to do it. So this guy, he just shows up, mows the lawn, and leaves, right? And you're going to find in the course, some guys just show up to the course, turn the video on, and leave. And that's all they're going to do, right? Mike and Chris, they can give you the material to get there, but they can't make you get there. This is up to you. And what this taught me was trying to teach others, I have a process. I didn't know I had a process of the way I approach things, why I'm able to be good at so many different things. I spot the problem. I said, you know what? I'm going to do something about it. Then I start seeking out educational material. I don't know anything about lawns. I find an expert. I found Mike, right? I found an expert. I ingest all of their material, right? I take in everything that they know. Then I prepare. I went to Home Depot. I bought all the stuff he said to buy. The little spray, whatever. I don't know anything about it yet, but I have my expert. I started putting it all down, and I did what the expert said to do. He said, hey, you've got to mow your lawn 3 times a week. I was like, oh, I haven't even mowed it once. I started mowing the lawn 3 times a week. You got to execute. Now, I'm one of the top 2 lawns in the neighborhood. So my lawn taught me that I have a process of how I approach things to become successful. And that's what I've been implementing in interviews, and that's why I become successful in interviews. If you go chasing after the money, you're always going to be chasing. But if you chase the knowledge, the money is going to come looking for you. Please, guys, alleviate yourself from thinking that you have to know everything. Be confident in what it is that you do know, and when getting to those questions and knocking those out of the park and being like the parts that you don't know, say, hey, listen, I haven't touched that yet, but I can be equally as good at those things if given the chance. If that's what this job entails, then I will become good at it. That's my answer, right? And they was like, okay, he knows what he knows what he doesn't know. Nobody knows everything in technology, right? So alleviate yourself of that burden of thinking, man, I have to know every service. Persistence. And this statement says, just as a blacksmith molds iron through intense heat and repeated hammering, our character is shaped through the fires of our failures and the blows of life's challenges. The reason this book helped me get here is because if you notice, guys, most of the stuff I'm talking about, every negative I turn into a positive in my favor. Success through PMA makes sure that I can never lose. I'm always in a winning position. It's success through a positive mental attitude, right? How do you see the silver lining in every cloud? Right? And that's what I mean by, like I was saying, and a lot of times Mike gets on the call and he's talking about soft skills. I'm like, oh, I want to talk about technology. I wanted to learn more. It's like, because that's the most important takeaway, guys. And that's what I want to leave everyone with today, is your mental attitude is going to shape where you go, and even when you get there, it's going to shape where you continue to move forward from there on, right? So if I left you with anything today, it's that smile, help your teammates out, have good friends that are within the community that will help you when you're falling down, but also you have to be willing to be that person to reach out a hand also when somebody's falling to help them back up, right? And each one, every one of you, I appreciate your time today for even listening to me. It's an honor for me just to be up here. And if there's anything I can ever do to help you in your career, please reach out to me, okay? Thank you, guys.
I'm still clapping. I'm still clapping. I'm still clapping. I'm still clapping.
Oh yeah, me too. Me too.
Always love hearing from Jermaine.
Oh.
Yeah, I think what you all experience in class, I see a lot of it. Like case in point, Yvonne was there. He was on my team, and when we were in the escape room, everyone just broke off, took a piece of the puzzle, and then they started working with it, and then cross-referencing what they knew and sharing it with all the other teammates. And that's why we're able to get through a lot of it. It wasn't quick. We didn't finish, but to see how they work together to create solutions and cross-reference knowledge to eliminate what we don't need and look for the things that we do, I was impressed.
Was it surprising that the only group that won the escape room or survived the escape room was the group of the person whom the lead was a yoga teacher?
Doesn't surprise me at all.
Under pressure. They could stay calm under pressure. They could figure things out while the pressure was on. I tell you, the pressure was on in the escape room. Oh my God.
That's why we brought my friend Todd. I've known Todd now 17 years. I've literally I meet with him once a week. I have for almost 17 years. And I did a 500-hour yoga instructor program there. So yeah, I could have taught the yoga, but it would have been a disservice to all of you. I wanted Todd there because he's the best I know.
I don't think Todd has an anger button ever. Nope. I don't think he is physically capable of being angry. He is such a positive, happy guy. And every time I had an opportunity to speak with him, it's always a great takeaway to experience what Todd knows, where he's been, the training that he got. He shared with me his journey to become a yoga instructor and what he had to do to get to these different levels. And it's just impressive.
And that's the difference. And whether you're an architect or a yoga instructor, you could just show up at a yoga studio and do a 1 weekend class per month and then do 3 or 4 yoga sessions per week for 9 months and say, I'm there. Not this guy. This guy teaches 5 classes a day. He spent years in Thailand where they have their flavor of yoga, years in India where they had their flavor of yoga, studied with the founders of Ashtanga Yoga and their family, started with Bikram himself, then studied under Patabi Joyce's disciples like Tim Miller in California for years. So it's a whole life for him. It's where I talk about being an expert versus a jack of all trades. He's an expert.
So it seems you guys talking about Todd there. I got a few minutes of Todd too, if you want me to play those.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. Since Brian's been sentenced to yoga, it's been great things. So I'm following everyone into yoga.
How's that working?
All right. So let me play this. Let me play this with Todd. This one was a little bit tougher because it's a little bit more all over the place physically. So give me a second.
Everything that I've been learning today, listening to the speakers, was amazing. You guys did an incredible job. Seems so aligned with yoga and meditation in some of these simple concepts of, having a plan and a strategy and a goal and sticking with it. So I think that really when broken down into these 3 key components, focusing on breath, being aware of body positioning and or posture, and something that Mike keeps coaching me on. Mike's been a big help for me in my business. I loved hearing how you said you practiced standing in front of a camera, watching yourself. I'm trying to improve on that. So one of my most favorite things to do is just start rocking all over the place and moving around. So Mike's been like, Todd, just stand stable. stand in one place, plant your feet, widen your stance a little bit. Don't move all over the place. So I feel like that element relates to the yoga side in terms of body awareness, like body positioning. So I have so much to learn and so much to improve upon. And I think, though, that these key ingredients, though, are really what I keep trying to come back to when I feel super nervous, like even getting up here in front of you all today. Absolutely. It's possible to practice yoga poses while you're sitting at a desk and working on a computer even. I mean, it's a good idea to probably get up and step away from it for a little bit, but yes, absolutely. The big one, the main movement in the whole yoga world in terms of posture is flexion and extension. And so, you know, even just in a seated position, being able to round the spine and extend the spine is, you know, one way to just start to get some energy moving in the body. There's this idea too that because our brain and spinal cords is like this is obviously our main housing of our nervous system, that moving the spine and generating spinal movement does help to increase like energy in the body. So there are a whole host of different exercises that we can do, but that main one of just doing flexion and extension and then coordinating the breath with the movement. Would you be willing to do while you're sitting in the chair? Just stay right there. Just stay right there. So inhale, try to raise your arms above your head. And yeah, you all can do it. I didn't mean to just single him out. Exhale, just fold forward, but maybe just put your hands on the desk and just bring your forehead down toward the desk and try to round your spine a little bit. Good, and keep your hands on the desk and just inhale and lift your head up and extend your back. Good, excellent. And then just one more time, exhale, bring your forehead down toward the desk so you kind of round your back. Okay, and then inhale, come all the way back up, raise your arms above your head again like we started. Just raise your arms up. And then exhale, let your arms come down. That was basically the sun salutation A that Mike just did, just done in a chair. So it can be so simple like that. It doesn't have to be complicated. I mean, I think really the more simple we can make it, like the more effective it actually is. But excellent question. Thank you so much. Yeah.
And I think that's a great way to end the day. We started with yoga. We end with yoga.
That's right.
All right.
Now we're talking.
Let's hear it for Todd and Mike.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Todd.
All
that was
right.
fun.
And it was perfect. You guys started the day and ended the day with yoga. I did nothing. So, you know, that was great. That was great.
Hey, Chris. The other things that we haven't highlighted, you know, about our experiences in Orlando that were, you know, other things that happened were like the night outings, you know, going out to the restaurants, the bar side discussions that we had. And I mean, we could go into that and I could tell you all the things Alonso taught us that night and explained and how he came in and how to win the U.S. Senate IT security manager. And Alonso had to do the reverse of what you would want him to be. Yeah. You wanted him to be in a suit, but the IT manager.
No, I just wanted him not to be in pajamas because I was in pajamas. You know, I don't want to be in pajamas and meet somebody from the Senate. All right, like I need to be.
Yeah, that just wouldn't be a representative of the organization.
He was not going to buy from somebody who is wearing a suit. He wanted to talk to somebody who was a regular guy like us at the bar, hanging out and having a few drinks.
And neither one of your baseball teams made it to the series. So there you go, Alonso.
Yeah, I'm laughing at all my friends in Phoenix. They're laughing at me about now. So what can I do?
So, you know, sticking to my New Year's resolution that I've done a pretty decent job of sticking to, of making us stay at a 2-hour show. You know, I do want to wrap it up. I want to Daniel. I've seen Daniel and I've seen Gwen in the chat box here. Both of them were able to attend, so I just wanted to put their comments up here. Gwen says, Todd's calm demeanor made all the difference in the escape room. our team learned so much from Todd, and it was a pleasure working with him. Absolutely. And if you want to learn more about the escape room experience, sign up for those highlights. And also, starting tomorrow, you can pre-register for the next one. But we got a whole breakdown of that escape room experience that everyone keeps referring to. But yeah, great point there, Gwen. And then Daniel made a comment earlier. Where did it go? Where did it go? If there is anyone here who is on the fence on whether or not to attend the next summit, I would say do it. You won't regret it. Gentlemen, what would you say to that?
Totally agree.
I would agree for sure. I just want to give a shout out to Todd, where it started the conference off as the way to start: calm, focus, just set the tone for an entire conference. I just want to put that out there, saying Todd was the best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and while we're at that, Todd's at Native Yoga Online. In fact, if one of my team can pop a link to that, since I'm not even sure how to get to the comment box from the StreamYard view that I have, but Todd's at Native Yoga in Native Yoga in Juno Beach, Florida. And if you happen to be in South Florida, I recommend popping into the studio.
Yeah.
You might even see me there. I'm there all the time.
I just wanted to add one more element of to what everybody has said. It is the fact that when we meet together, when we are in person, really, it kind of breaks down barriers. I saw Miss Gwen there. I have not seen her before. I have not met her before, but then I was like riding in her car with Brian and Jeanette, and we were just talking about, about things like old uncles and auntie who just got together for some family reunion and kind of talking about our dreams, and it was amazing seeing Mo fight with Mike, and we just met there. And a lot of things can happen when like humans get together, and that is the element that we usually do not get when we do the virtual environment teaching and learning like this. So if anyone wants to go to the next one, please do. Just sign up and just come and see what the whole thing is about. And I will make one suggestion too, Chris, as you're doing this, can you also kind of include bringing some industry vendors to the place, like some tech vendors, so we can really see.
Possibly, but there's always a trade-off with that. The more you tend to do that, the less it becomes about you.
That is true. That is
so,
true. Yeah.
And our goal is for it to be about you.
That is right. And it was.
And trust me, this comes from experience. The more outside vendors you bring in, the less it becomes about the people that are actually attending. Go to any of your big conferences and conventions. Is it about you or is it about the vendors?
That's right.
It's about what they want to sell.
Yeah. So that is something to consider, but it has to be considered delicately.
Delicately.
Okay. I'm going to mute you, Richard. I got some echo coming from you. There you go. So Mike, there's a comment here from Elise that I'd like you to take. Also, I'd like to invite Elise, if Tyrone, if you can put the link to our webinar in the chat box. Elise says, even without any experience, without any degree, how long the class takes.
So Elise, no, it really has nothing to do with your experience, and it has nothing to do with your degrees. It has everything to do with your competency, how good you are at the job, how good of an attitude you have, how hard you work, how good your communication skills are, what your executive presence is like, what your business acumen is like, and how likable you are. It's really what it comes down to. I can give you an example of Daniel Bosu. He was an immigrant from Togo, really nice guy. He didn't graduate high school. So no degree, no high school diploma either. And hired by JP Morgan Chase in about 6 months after our training. Now you saw Yvonne Tamba there. You didn't see Coyote. You didn't see Jordan Kitko. You didn't see so many others that were hired by AWS.
You might see Jordan. You might see Jordan.
Oh, and you might see Jordan. That's right. You might see Jordan at the next conference. And
I'm not saying, but I'm saying.
We're not saying, but you might. And the point is we train them and they're great. What employers don't want is somebody with 10 certifications that doesn't know anything. They want someone that can do the job. I want you to do the following. My team is going to pop in there completely free a list of how to become a cloud architect, and join us tomorrow in the How to Get Your First Cloud Architect Job webinar. We'll discuss it. Thursday. We'll discuss it for about 30 minutes, and then we'll spend an hour and a half with you live on Zoom. We can speak face to face, and I'll build you a plan to help you get hired as an architect, have a great job, and have a life that you will absolutely love. So I want to make sure you get it. It's achievable for anyone. Anyone. While we're at it tomorrow between 2 and 4 p.m., my team and I are going to answer cloud computing career questions. And whether you want to be an architect or an engineer, and believe me, there are different skills, or a network engineer or a security engineer, we're going to give you the skills that you need to be hired. Because I don't want any of you spending any time that was wasted. I started my thing. I took an $11,000 CCNP boot camp. Nobody cared. A $5,000 MCSE boot camp. I got 6 certifications in the end. I sent out resumes. Employers laughed. 2 of them called me back and said, Mike, no degrees in tech, no experience in tech. How do I hire you? And then I called 50 recruiters and said, what do you want in a perfect network engineer? This is what I did 25 years ago. And they told me. Instantly, I was hired as a senior engineer. I was a lead architect in a few months. And that's the thing. We are not born architects. We are not born airplane pilots. We are not born with a PhD. We are not born with physicians. Nobody's born a Navy SEAL. We get that way from the right training, the right focus, and having the right mentors in our lives. So we can easily get you to your goal. I can show you everything you need to learn, and then you got to follow the directions and get there. And I want all of you, whether you're our students or not, to have a life that you love. For me, I don't really need to work per se. I had a great architecture career. I need to run this company, because when Richard tells me he's got his job, I'm going to party like it's 1999 as the song went over there. And when Valerie does, I'm going to get out my lion photos because I see he's got one, and we're going to celebrate Valerie's hire. Yes. I might even eat sugar that day and try some actual Canadian maple syrup.
What?
You know, I haven't had sugar in about 10 years. But I'll try it because for Valerie, for you, I'll be so happy. And when Brian gets that big job, I got to tell you, I'm going to celebrate that one too. He's close to Philadelphia. I've got a house there, actually. So I might go visit him too. So, you know, these kind of things. So that's really where I want to come from. So all of you, wherever you do, just know that the possibilities are basically unlimited. If you build the right plan, you get the right training and education for whatever your skills are, and every job is different. You can train to be an engineer and an architect in the same program. You can't. It's too different. You got to train for your skills. That's why Olympic gymnasts don't train the same way as marathon runners, and they don't train the same way as football players. And European football people and American football people train differently because their sports are different too. And guess what? If you're going to train a quarterback versus a running back versus a lineman, you're going to train them differently too. And that's really what I want you all to get to. Train for your job, not everybody else. Yeah, my kid loves it.
I gotta wrap up the show. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike. So I'm gonna ask Valerie and Brian and Richard just share any last words with us, and then ask Alonzo to share any last words. And then I'm gonna wrap it up because Mike already said his last words. I'm just kidding. I'll let Mike say something again. But we'll start with Valerie. Valerie, you want to give us any last words here?
Sure, Chris. And hey, I just want to encourage anyone thinking about the next summit. It will be more than you expect. For me, the extra thing like the escape room, the night outings, the bar side discussions, exploring the city with friends, people that I can still think about like Mo, Flora, Terrence, you know, Gwen, so many other people. And actually meeting some of these architects who are practicing just shortens that gap of disbelief and lack of confidence in yourself and makes you feel like you're almost there, and you're there because we are there. We're getting the best training, one of the best mentors you can ever have to become an architect. So let's do it.
All right, Brian.
I'll say this, you know, a journey begins with a single step. So if you want to go to the conference, take that step to meet lifelong friends. Here in the video here, I also want to give a shout out to Gwen and Jeanette. I know if you're watching, thank you. It's been a pleasure talking to you at the conference. and never give up. It's going to be a struggle. This doesn't come overnight, what we learn in Go Clouds. But if you keep at it and be persistent, I guarantee you, as all of us here will say, you'll get that dream job that you're looking for.
Yes.
Richard.
Yeah, and I'm already loving the adaptation that Brian has made to his video presence. We talked about that at the conference, and you look great, man.
This
You
is
look
a new
younger.
camera. This is a regular camera, not the computer camera.
So I just wanted to say one thing. There is a quote that Mike, is used to coding most of the time, saying that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go together, then go. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go further, go together. That's exactly how he said it. And I'm embarrassed for not coding that correctly since I'm African born. But I just wanted to say that it is important for us to consider this as a community. And nowhere was it more apparent and more vital than when we were in Orlando. I mean, we just like gelled as a team, and as we keep doing those things, I think the network that we are creating will be something that we can rely on as we progress. If Jermaine was to hire somebody tomorrow, guess who he's gonna hire? He said it. That's gonna be me, right? So as we get together, we are building and extending that team. So yeah, let's keep going and let's go together, not faster. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, cool, Richard, love it.
And Richard, that's the whole goal. To build such a network that no matter where you go, you always have a job. I don't apply for jobs. I don't look for jobs. I get calls from my peers. Hey, Mike, I'm over here. I'm having a good time. I need somebody that's a distinguished architect in healthcare. And okay. Or wait, I need somebody to design this. Are you interested? When I was younger, I had to use recruiters. As I got older, it's my network. So that's one of the things, Richard, I'm so happy you picked up on it.
All right. So Alonzo, last words from you.
Well, I'll keep it nice and sweet. I couldn't be more.
No, please don't. I haven't let you talk at all today. So
you know what? It's all about these gentlemen, Jermaine, Yvonne, everyone who participated, those who wanted. I would stress that, and the ladies as well, everyone who attended. I was happy to meet each and every one of you. Had one-on-one discussions, group discussions, being able to be a part of the panel. See the dynamic, the growth, the ability of everyone communicating, how they fed off of each other, how everyone has I remember meeting possibly a lot of folks who are probably on this channel. We had our original discussions. You joined the course. I've seen you all graduate, matriculate, progress. And these are the things that make me very proud to know you, be a proud of Go Cloud Careers, be a part of sharing what I've known in my prior careers and how I can help you apply that across your brand, across how you come across as strong cloud architects. And if you all have not been a part of Go Cloud Careers, you didn't go to the conference and you're interested, please go to gocloudcareers.com, hit that Calendly button, set up an appointment with me. I'm more than happy to discuss everything about Go Cloud Careers. We want you all to flourish. You don't need a degree. You don't, in this instance, even with Daniel Bosu, you don't need a high school diploma, although we would like for you to have it. But overall, bring your determination, bring your hopes, bring your dreams. Come with us on this journey to becoming cloud architects, and you will not be disappointed.
Yeah. All right. And before I hand it off to Mike, I just want to remind everybody that you can get the highlights as we have them roll out. We'll be emailing them. Just sign up at the link in the chat box. And also for anyone that's interested, pre-registration for our March 2024 conference begins tomorrow. If you're within our program, you'll have the opportunity for pre-registration. There's going to be limited slots, so we're opening pre-registration to our internal students first. Be on the lookout for that tomorrow. And I can't wait to do this next one. This first one exceeded my wildest dreams. I was truly blown away. We had Yvonne Tamba, we had Jermaine Halton, we had Dr. Johnson and Dr. Long, we had Todd McLaughlin from Native Yoga. We had Mike, Alonzo, all of us there. Amazing attendees, amazing participation. We had a great time at the escape room. I didn't actually take part in the escape room. I sat in the lobby and got to listen to every single person beating their head against the wall. It was a blast. And so that was fun. And it was just an amazing experience that can't be replicated in a virtual environment. And it's just there. And Valerie brought up a valid point that there's so many things outside the actual conference, outside the presentation hall, that made the conference what it actually was. You know, whether it be going, I think we had probably 90% of the conference took over Miller's Ale House down the street from the hotel on Friday night. And so that was fun in itself. And then on Saturday night after the escape room, I know we had 3 different contingencies. We had a whole group that took over the Korean barbecue place. Then we had some people that were at the Ethiopian place. And then we had some people that were at the hotel lobby bar. And, you know, and then the small breaks that I gave all of you in between the presentations. I gave you 10 minutes. You tried to stretch it to 15 every time, but you know, it was worth it. Seeing all of the interaction, seeing the networking going on, seeing people, Richard taking LinkedIn headshots for people like that has turned into an entire session. Now, Richard, I'm not obligating you to do an entire session of LinkedIn headshots, but we're going to find out a way. We're going to have a whole session set aside for LinkedIn headshots at the next one.
If you want a sample, just check out my LinkedIn headshot.
I didn't even think these are things that we didn't even think about. The idea of the panel discussion about the escape room didn't exist until after the escape room happened. And I heard Dr. Johnson and Dr. Long talking about what they observed. And so, boom, we put together a panel to talk about the escape room, which arguably I think was probably one of the more entertaining, at the very least, presentations. You know, it's not every day you get Dr. Johnson with a mic drop. And you get Mike not advocating for people. That was funny. Sorry. But I really enjoyed it. And I'm glad that all of you were able to take part in it. Those of you that weren't able to join the live stream, I saw Gwen in the chat box, Flora sent in the video, Daniel was in the chat box, and so many other people that I know that were there that made it an amazing experience. I look forward to the next one, and I really encourage everybody that's interested to register for it as soon as you're able to, because it's only going to be limited number of people that are going to be able to register. So as soon as you're able to, please do. Mike, you got any last words for us?
I just want to say how much fun this was. And, you know, I'm not the kind of guy that likes to do too many in-person things these days. And it's really because of the challenges I have with my foot. It takes 2 to 3 hours each day in the morning for me to be able to walk. And that's why, you know, everybody saw me around 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. So even with all that, I was just so excited to meet people, you know, and it was literally everywhere. It was, you know, having me, Chris, and Alonzo in the same room, which gives the rest of the world the opportunity to see that Alonzo and I really could be twin brothers, and how much it takes Chris to actually keep the two of us in line, because we're like the same chicken with our head going in the same direction at the same time.
I'm halfway contemplating releasing just the raw footage of me trying to wrangle everybody. And I'm sure we could get people to pay for that. Like
we probably could. But, you know, I had a small dinner with Jeannie and Gwen and Brian and my friend Todd. I figured I could easily convince Jeannie for Ethiopian. That would be easy. And Todd, I know, because Todd loves Ethiopian food, because I've sent him for Ethiopian. Plus, he lived in India, so the foods are semi-similar, but not exactly. But when we had other people join us, it was fun. Just a chance to get to know my students personally. That was an experience of a lifetime. That, honestly, it brought me to tears on more than one occasion. And my wife and I are still talking about it. She's been telling me the look on my face and how happy I was. My friend Todd actually commented on the family that we built. And he's a person I deeply respect. And he's like, I met your students. He's like, I don't know how you found them. He's like, it's literally like you recruited the best people in every country you could think of, and they're part of you. And that was a proud moment for me as somebody that I respect that had those things to say that was similar to what I experienced. And it was just fun. Whether it be Richard teaching me how to set the color temperature on a camera, or whether it be, Valerie showing some things, or Brian showing her things, or Gwen every once in a while. I still make her talk about how to take kids on a fishing trip because she's in our elite program, and she was talking about organizing a fishing trip with 6-year-olds. And let me tell you, the ability and the plan was so impressive, it wowed me. So I don't know, it was just an exciting thing. I hope everybody's there. I hope we can make it bigger than the last one. I hope we're allowed to bring lots and lots of people because I want to meet people. So thank you all for being here. You guys all have an incredibly bright future. Go out there, enjoy the day. Come see us tomorrow as we discuss career questions. Come see us on Thursday on how to get your first cloud job. And download some of those free highlights. I think you'll have fun. And you'll learn something even in those short videos too. So take care, everyone.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks.
Bye, everybody. Thank you all
Take
for
care.
joining.
Thanks, Brian, Valor, and Richard.
Thanks, Alonzo. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Brian.